La da dee do do, la da da da, na da dee.
What is up? I'm Razz Pitazz. Hope you're having a great day today. So maybe you decided to try out Overwatch, or maybe you simply want to know a little more before taking the plunge. These videos are going to briefly go over the heroes, their abilities, how they play, and some tips to help you get familiar with them. If you would rather have a resource to read rather than listen to me, I highly recommend visiting owinfinity.com, where a lot of this information can be found with hard numbers in a beautifully streamlined website. There are currently 21 heroes that are separated into 4 classes. I will be making an overview video for each class. There's offense, defense, tank, and support. These are general roles that these heroes were designed to play, but that doesn't mean they are not functional outside of these roles. It needs to be noted that every hero has killing potential, even the supports, so do not underestimate any of them. The premise of Overwatch is the ability to change your hero mid-match. This plays a much larger role than you may realize at this point, but do not become too focused on swapping heroes out constantly right now. Each hero has certain strengths and weaknesses that you can use against other heroes, or can be exploited by the other heroes against you. This all comes with time and familiarity. You want to become familiar with these heroes before you start to worry about hero swapping, counterplay, and team composition. Don't worry though, if you are willing to learn the game, then you will get the hang of it fairly quickly. So let's go ahead and take a look at a few of our heroes. We're going to start with the offense class. The offense class contains the characters you would normally consider a carry for the team. This means that while they deal a high amount of damage, they conversely have a small health pool. It is not abnormal for a team to run 2 or more offensive heroes depending on the circumstances. These heroes typically excel at medium to close range combat, and each have a way to avoid or negate damage should they get into a less than favorable situation. Genji is a cybernetic ninja, and as such is one of the more popular picks in the game. He could be considered more of an assassin type of a character, where it is best to be sneaky and pick off weak or isolated targets rather than meeting them head on. His passive certainly fits the theme, allowing him to perform double jumps and wall climbs, which he can use to access higher terrain and give him a great amount of mobility. His weapons of choice are shurikens. His main attack throws 3 individual shurikens in a row, while his secondary throws 3 in a cone. Swift Strike allows Genji to dash forward in the direction he is looking, dealing damage to enemies in his path, and the cooldown resets upon any enemy elimination. This ability allows more erratic movement between shuriken strikes, which can throw off an unprepared opponent. It can also be used vertically as well. Use this in conjunction with his double jump and wall climb to close distances, make escapes, and access the more out-of-reach areas on the map. Deflect is Genji's signature move outside of his ultimate, and is the most devastating part of his kit in my personal opinion. It allows him to shield himself from all projectiles from in front of him. It also allows him to reflect those projectiles in the direction he is facing, damaging whatever is in their path. Any damage or eliminations incurred this way are attributed to Genji instead of the source. Deflect can land headshots if aimed well enough or just plain lucky enough. It will also block melee attacks, but it cannot reflect them. This ability can even reflect projectile ultimates. Deflect is powerful against many heroes and is what gives Genji a higher skill gap between them. Bastions in turret mode will find Genji very irritating, and a well-timed, well-aimed deflect can even take out a Widowmaker. This ability will not block or reflect any weapons that use a beam. This makes heroes such as Zarya, Winston, and Symmetra more difficult to deal with. The Dragon Blade replaces the primary attack with a giant katana infused with awesome! Genji cannot use his shurikens during the duration of his ultimate, however all of the other abilities are still functional and he gains increased movement speed. The ultimate will last for 8 seconds or 9 slashes, whichever comes first, and the katana deals heavy damage with a long reach. Use a combination of his ultimate, deflect, and swift strike for maximum effectiveness. McCree's weapon of choice is his trusty Peacemaker, a justice-dispensing 6-shooter that you will come to know, love, and hate. The primary fire is a single shot, while the secondary fire, called Fan the Hammer, fires all of the remaining rounds within his pistol. The primary fire requires aim and precision and is most useful at medium to long ranges, while Fan the Hammer is best used in close quarters on unsuspecting targets. McCree's first ability is the combat roll. This will cause McCree to dive and roll in any direction and immediately reload his weapon. Useful for making dives around corners, but also useful for a quicker reload. McCree's second ability is his Flashbang. Throw one of his flashbangs at an enemy and they will be temporarily stunned. This can be useful for getaways, but it is more often used in conjunction with Fan the Hammer. McCree's kit works together seamlessly against carries, supports, and even defensive heroes. The typical McCree wombo combo is the flashbang, fan, roll, fan again. With decent enough aim, you can drop many foes this way. Be careful though, as the more you play, the wiser your opponents will likely to get. They're going to see this combo coming. McCree's ultimate is Deadeye. Iconic in its own right as it draws from American spaghetti westerns, Deadeye requires timing and confidence. When McCree has activated Deadeye, he will begin charging his shots. His movement speed reduced significantly. The longer the charge, the harder the hit. When a target can be one shot, the charge will turn into a red skull. Deadeye can lock onto up to 6 targets. If a target takes cover before the ultimate fires, they will not receive damage. This ultimate lasts 6 seconds or when the player ends the charge time. Overall, McCree is pretty strong, but long-distance combat is a weak point, as well as his cooldowns. After a fight, McCree will likely have both his flashbang and combat roll on cooldown, which is a perfect time to take him out. For this reason, McCree needs to pick and choose his battles carefully. Pharah is the only hero who has innate aerial capabilities, and as such, she may feel a little awkward to play at first. I suggest getting used to her as soon as possible, because once you do, you will be raining justice and pain. Pharah's passive is her jetpack. When she holds the jump command, she will continue to slowly fly upwards in any direction you choose. This is limited to only a few seconds, but becomes invaluable once you understand her kit. Her weapon is a rocket launcher. There is no secondary fire, but her rockets pack quite a punch as 2 direct hits will eliminate most enemies, 3 hits will take out almost any turrets, and the splash damage is considerable to say the least. Pharah can use her rockets to help propel her into the air further than normal, but she can be hurt by her own rockets, so be careful when doing this. Her first ability is Jump Jet, which launches Pharah into the air much higher than the jetpack. The Jump Jet is versatile, great in many situations, and is key to what makes Pharah stand out. It can be activated either on the ground or in the air. Jump Jet is an excellent way to reach high rises and platforms, as well as a decent escape tool. Pharah can use her jetpack to hover after a Jump Jet to help stabilize her aim or to help guide her to a platform. Pharah's next ability is her Concussive Blast. Concussive Blast deals no damage at all, but instead will knock players away from the blast zone in all directions, either friendly or foe. This is a great way to annoy many heroes. Concussive Blast can knock snipers out of their perches, separate supports from their team, knock incoming melee enemies backwards, and can even knock enemies off of ledges to their doom. In desperate situations, you can even use it to push teammates out of the way of incoming threats. It can also be used to push Pharah away as well, mainly to change direction mid-flight or when Jump Jet is on cooldown. Pharah's ultimate is aptly named as Barrage. When activated, Pharah is locked into position even mid-air. She fires a barrage of rockets at her foes. The rockets will follow the reticle after a short delay. Each rocket deals decent damage, but the power comes from the fact that she will fire up to 90 of these rockets if the ultimate spans the full 3-second duration. This is an excellent way to clean up a team fight, disrupt an enemy push, or take care of that one guy that has been pissing you off since the beginning of the match. The downside is the fact that you remain stationary, locked into position. This makes you an easy target for anyone who has a gun or even a rocket launcher. Pick and choose the circumstances when using Barrage to ensure maximum effectiveness. Pharah's ability to attack from the air makes her a force to be reckoned with and can be a difficult target to hit, but it won't take many hits to bring her down. Reaper. As dangerous as his name implies, Reaper is an assassin of few words and many shotguns. He has the largest health pool in the offense class, which makes him both a deadly duelist and a slippery target. Reaper's passive, the Reaping, allows himself to heal when he grabs the souls of dead enemies from the battlefield. While not a mechanic that necessarily takes skill, you will find out why this is important to his kit. Reaper rocks 2 sawed-off Hellfire shotguns that have no secondary fire. The shotguns fire in sequence and hold 4 shells each. The further away, the more damage drops off. The closer the target is, the more damage they'll take. This makes Reaper a close quarters hero, dispatching most enemies crazy enough to get close. Because of his high damage and larger health pool, this also allows Reaper the rare honor of being a tank shredder. His first ability is called Wraith Form. This allows him to become invulnerable to all damage, increase his movement speed, and be able to pass through enemies for all of 3 seconds. Reaper cannot use his weapons or abilities while in Wraith form, but can still pick up health packs and receive healing. This ability allows Reaper to cut to the enemy back line and dispatch whatever target he chooses. Don't do this haphazardly though. A half-decent team will see you coming this way and target you before you even come out of this form. You will never get a single shot off on your target. Wraith form makes an even better defensive tool, allowing you to negate any and all damage you might incur and makes for a useful escape. His next ability is Shadow Step. Shadow Step allows Reaper to teleport anywhere within sight up to 35 meters away. It takes 2 seconds to cast this ability, so you need to be careful when you're using it. It is not effective as a defensive maneuver, though you may get lucky a few times. This ability is best used to set up a position to flank unsuspecting enemies. Reaper's ultimate, Death Blossom, is his signature move. As stylish as it is deadly, Death Blossom packs enough punch to take out every hero with the exception of Reinhardt. When activated, Reaper will spin and fire his shotguns in 360 degrees while reciting his favorite poem. When activated, Reaper remains stationary, making him vulnerable to a counterattack. For this reason, it is important to attack from behind or when the enemy is incapacitated or simply unaware of your presence. Due to Reaper's lack of range, this makes him vulnerable to more long-range attacks. Keep your wits about you and try to flank for maximum effectiveness. One of the more self-sufficient heroes in the roster, Soldier 76 is one of the easiest characters to pick up and understand when it comes to mechanics. He uses a heavy pulse rifle, which puts out some of the best sustained damage in the game. Useful at all ranges, this makes for an excellent weapon for both eliminations and suppression. The secondary fire launches Helix rockets, providing heavy burst damage with low splash potential. These Helix rockets can also be used to rocket jump. 76's first ability is Sprint. Yep, that is his ability. Running. His sprint is indefinite, only stopping when he stops moving, is suppressed by an enemy, or by activating another ability. He cannot fire his weapons while he is sprinting. His next ability is the Biotic Field. The Biotic Field creates a zone at 76's position, healing himself and any allies within that zone. It heals for 40 health per second, meaning that this is not really an effective way to mitigate damage, but it really just allows him more sustain on the battlefield. Soldier 76's ultimate is Tactical Visor, the epitome of easy mode. Lasting 6 seconds, the Tactical Visor allows automatic aiming of both primary and secondary firing methods, 50% reduced reload speed, and automatic reloading upon activation. 76 cannot hit critical points such as headshots while using this ultimate, but the ultimate is so easy to use you almost don't even need to try. Soldier 76 sounds like the ultimate soldier, and when it comes to dueling, he really is. However, 76 does not excel at close quarters combat, and a careless one can be dispatched pretty easily by pretty much anyone. Finally, we have Tracer. The mascot of the game and most likely the personification of the game's goals, Tracer is both extremely fun to play and somewhat difficult to master. Tracer is fast. Really fast. Because of this, she is difficult to corner. However, she has the smallest health pool in the class and will be dealt with as quickly as she is when caught. Tracer carries dual pulse pistols which fire and reload extremely fast, but offer a lower amount of damage than the other heroes within this class. With an extremely fast reload, these weapons feel right for her kit, forcing you to use everything she has rather than just run and gun. Her first ability and her signature move is Blink. Using Blink will cause Tracer to dash in any direction she is moving very quickly. Blink has 3 charges to it, each one takes 1 second to recharge. This can be used to flank enemies, escape danger, traverse ground, and even close gaps in terrain. Due to the low cooldown, it is highly recommended to use Blink often, but never use all 3 of them, as you never know when you're going to need a quick getaway. Her next ability is Recall. Recall is where she really messes with your head. Recall will cause Tracer to go back in time 3 seconds earlier, restoring health, position, reloading her weapons, and removing any form of a debuff she may have. Recall lasts for 1.5 seconds, where Tracer is not targetable and cannot be controlled. Obviously, right for those moments where you blinked a little too far, but it's even better to avoid heavy amounts of ultimate damage as this ability has a longer cast time than Blink does. That being said, it also has a 12-second cooldown, so it is imperative to use it wisely. Mixing Blink with Recall will really mess with your enemy, especially in a duel. These two in tandem is what makes Tracer so deadly, fun, and difficult. Tracer's ultimate is the Pulse Bomb. The Pulse Bomb can and will stick to any surface or enemy, will hit critical areas, and will hurt Tracer if she is within the blast radius. It is important to get out after planting the bomb to avoid instant death. Because the bomb can stick to enemies, this makes it a nice instant kill. The ability to kill multiple enemies crowded together is also extremely tempting. It is best to prioritize potential targets based on proximity to other enemies, threat, and ease of execution. One of the safest and most satisfying ways to effectively use her Pulse Bomb is to identify where the enemy players are, blink behind enemy lines, stick the bomb to a tank or a support, and recall out. Many times multiple heroes will be nearby a tank or a support character, so this could land you a multi-kill. Alright guys, that is it for this video. Keep an eye open for the next one that's going to be coming out on the defensive class heroes. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something today. If not, I deeply apologize. But I still hope that you have a great day, and as always, thanks for watching.